Hi, my name is Naria, and I'm really excited to talk a little bit about my input on the recent documentary Hack Your Health from Netflix. I received tons of messages. I know I did a short little review, but we're going to get a little bit deeper into it. I want to keep it nice and short, but I really want to emphasize certain points. Now, if you're new, my name is Naria, and I'm a functional gut health registered dietitian. I talk gut health all the time, specifically about fiber. Now, just in case, again, you're new here, I love talking about gut health to the community, to everyone online. This is me here in the middle, as you could probably assume, with all the gut health attire. I love to provide visuals as much as possible. I think it's a lot easier for people to kind of see what I'm talking about when I say, hey, the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, and all the good stuff. Anyhow, what we're going to focus on heavily today. So, a lot of what the documentary talks about is what we consider a form of leaky gut. So, what many individuals have is exactly where I put the arrows. So, you see this little area where there's actually a hole, that would be leaky gut, and we don't want that. We do not want that. This little blue area, we want more of this blue. We want to keep those bacteria where they're actually supposed to be, because when they cross that little barrier, your body takes it as alarm, alert, inflammation, because they're not supposed to be there. They're supposed to stay, like the bottom picture shows, on the top, just like hang in your area. But when they go to the top and they're just passing through, that's where we have a lot of issues that we see today in the healthcare world. Now, one of the tests we use in my practice is the Biome FX. It's an amazing test. It really helps individuals get to the root problem. And if you've seen the documentary, they talk a little bit about a stool test, very similar to the Biome FX. I'm not familiar to the one on the show, but it sounds very similar to this, where it lets us know the balance of the good bacteria, the bad bacteria, and what's happening in between. I will say the Biome FX is very, very detailed, and I personally love it. So it's the one that I'm using right now. Now, I love this visual uh, on the movie. I don't know if you remember this visual where they say, hey, this is the wall. So when we think about the wall that I was mentioning that we don't want them to go through and they're protecting the wall, that's the green guys. And the little pink one is the bacteria trying to get through. And if you remember in the movie, the pink guy bumps into the green one and kind of goes back in, because that layer, that protection is there. It's nice and strong. But what happens when we remove the fiber, aka we're not meeting our fiber goal? You see this hand removing the fiber from the bacteria that's trying to eat it? That's in a sense what we're doing, and we're not meeting our fiber goal. Now, if you've been watching me for a while, you know how much fiber you should be having. So just a little reminder, women, you should be having about 30, men 40. And honestly, I see a lot of success when we pass those goals, but most people aren't even at 10, 15 grams. The documentary mentions that most people are maybe at 15, and practicing what I do for so many years and so many thousands of people, I'm honestly shocked if they're at 10 to 15. Yeah, that's usually how low it is. So when we think like, why do we have all the problems we have today? If it's all related to the gut, right? And you're not feeding the gut, then you kind of see the connection there. So if you think of what's one thing I can do to be healthier, instead of all these low fat diets, instead of doing all the crazy supplements and everything, one of the easiest and free things you could do is really consider, am I meeting my fiber goal? Am I feeding these bacteria? Because these good bacteria that reduce the inflammation, they eat the fiber. And if they're not eating the fiber, guess what they're eating? And like that documentary mentioned, I love this visual too from the documentary. They're eating you. You see this little green guy with the petrified eyes? That's you. That's you. And that bacteria have to eat. Like anything that's alive, it's gonna eat. And if it doesn't, it's gonna start to eat that layer we talked about. And that's where they start to go pass through, and we have that little hole we don't want. So instead of forcing them to eat us, we don't want that. We want to say, hey, if you're going to protect me, let's work together, and I'm going to eat all the fruits, the vegetables, the legumes, the beans to really fuel you. So that way you can be happy and I can be happy, and there's literally no hole or no leaky gut in my system, and I can feel as best as possible.
So it's a time they'll deplete that mucus lining. Your bacteria. So it's a
And that
time they'll
little quick
deplete that
short,
mucus lining.
you see the little bacteria
Your
crawling
bacteria.
through, that goes back.
So it's a time they'll deplete that.
To this first image, they're passing this little area. They're passing that area. And that's where we see a huge problem. The documentary, I feel, did a wonderful job at explaining really good foundations on what good health is and what happens when you don't meet your fiber goal. And at the end, this is a quick little picture here. One of the ladies was making a fruit and veggie shake, and you can see all the fruits and veggies. And I think she says, "This is how much fruits and veggies I eat for the week." Right? And that's most people. And honestly, most people wouldn't even eat that amount in a week, maybe in 2 weeks. So you see how people aren't really meeting their fiber goal. You have to have tons of fruits and veggies and beans in your diet to meet these goals. It's really important. Otherwise, we're going to go back to here. Otherwise, we see this. The bacteria is going to eat that. Now, one of the main points of the takeaways of this show is meet your fiber goals. Otherwise, something like this could happen. One of the young ladies mentioned that she had a lot of food allergies, intolerances, and all of that stems in the gut. It stems back there. You want to make sure that you're creating a really, really strong foundation in your gut. That foundation is going to be built through your diet. The main course is going to be your diet. No supplement on this planet is going to save you from actually having to change your diet to meet this. Now, personally, I work with a lot of individuals who have a lot of gut issues. And a lot of those gut issues do call for a lower fiber diet for a certain period of time while we ease them up to that. But the thing is, a lot of people don't know that they're actually supposed to meet their fiber intake, even if they have these certain conditions. And that's where we see the conditions getting worse and worse and worse. If you're not protecting your gut, how, nothing's really protecting you. And the more research that comes out, the more we see everything is tied to the gut. The gut is our second brain. So I'm really, at the end of the day, I'm super excited that Netflix came out with the show. Is bringing a lot of light into gut health. It's something that has been out for who knows how many years, but this show has sparked that light again in a lot of people. I've gotten tons of messages on, this is such a good documentary, really brought me back into this is why it's important. And at the end of the day, when we think of gut health, guys, meet your fiber goal. That's literally the big thing. Meet your fiber goal. That is huge here. Now, if you have any questions, if you're interested in doing a functional testing like the show, again, I use the BiomeFX. Absolutely love it. If you're interested, let me know. We can schedule a free discovery call to see if we're a good fit. And this is a good test to see, like, is my gut as good as I think it is? It sometimes brings the reality out. So if you feel you have a great diet, this is still a test to just see, like, hey, is everything as good as I think it is? And if it is good, if not, you can do something about it. Now, you can definitely send us a message at 619-245-9336 or send us an email at narialemaire, NLN, at gmail.com, and we'll be happy to give you a call. For now, friends, meet your fiber goals, drink your water, drink your fluids, be active. All of that is tied to your gut. It's not just the fiber, it's also the water and your movement. You have to incorporate all of these so that way these little green guys are happy, right? And these little pink guys have some food. All right, till next time. Bye, friends.